Okay, so we're going to start together with just sitting and not even really needing to kind of try to start meditating, but just by simply recognizing the fact that you are sitting here and where you are. Maybe you want to even kind of look around at your surroundings. The different objects around you, the feeling of the physical space. And the recognition of the physical body. So you might be able to see your body, but can you also feel the body as a sensory experience? So maybe just feeling for a moment, what is there in the body? Maybe you can sense the sensation of the floor, the chair. Maybe even the feeling of the body on itself, if you're resting your hands or so this kind of sense of touch. And now as you close the eyes, you can continue to feel the body. So relating to this body as a sensory experience. And you can sense the position of your body. If you change position, if you change the posture, if you lean forward or backward slightly, there's a different feeling of the body. Or if you lean slightly side to side, it's going to be some sensations in the body which reveal themselves. So this sense of the body, where it is in space, where it is relative to itself. And the sensations of the body, the things that you can actually feel. Sensations of touch, of pressure, of maybe even the air on your skin. These are the sensations that make up the experience of your body. And this is the level that we're working at in Vipassana meditation. The direct experience of the body. So there is a part of the brain which is always aware of these sensations in the body. Always feeling what's going on, even if you're not consciously aware. So if a mosquito would come and start biting you in the leg, some parts of your mind of your nervous system will pick that up. And when it's important enough, you become conscious of it and realize, oh, there's a mosquito. So as we sensitize ourselves here to the body sensations, we are learning to really deeply experience the body, develop a sensitivity to the body sensations. And to leave it just at that, to just feel them without needing to do anything. So maybe you can also get the sense today of how your body is in this moment. Maybe it is more heavy or more light, maybe more fuzzy or more sharp, maybe more tense, maybe more relaxed. Maybe today you can feel your legs more, your lower body, or maybe you can feel more your arms. Maybe there's a sensation of fullness or emptiness. So we are working at the level of actual sensations. And if we can't feel sensations, start with something very simple, something very obvious, like, okay, I can feel the floor, my foot. And feel my foot and the feeling of my foot resting on the floor. I can feel the feeling of the chair, the sensation that the chair makes in my body. So even these very obvious sensations are still sensations. Okay. So you can open up the eyes again, but notice that even as you open the eyes and the kind of visual field becomes more present in your experience, there's still the experience of the body going on. And maybe it's more difficult to attend to it, even with your eyes open or as you're trying to listen to me. But if you just gently kind of intend to open up to this feeling of the body, you'll notice it's still going on, continues. Okay. So we started the Vipassana meditation this morning. If you already did the practice, the movement of attention through the body, to sweep the body with our attention, to scan the body, to develop this heightened awareness of the body sensation. So how was that meditation? Maybe you can just write in the chat. Was more difficult, more easy than the mindfulness of breathing? Was it more challenging? Maybe just a few brief words in the chat about how that was. What is the name of body scanner in Vipassana language? We will call it mindfulness of Vedana. Vedana is the sensation of the body. and we are practicing mindfulness or sati on Vedana. So it's called Vedananupassana. So it is the contemplation of Vedana. And this is the type of Vipassana practice. It was lovely to sink into the body and connect with all of the parts. Okay, so sounds like it was a positive experience. Easier to concentrate. Yes, that can be normal. There is kind of focus to attend to, something more continuous, more moving than the breath, which can sometimes be a bit boring. But there was discomfort which arose. Yes, so we don't really want to look at the body. The body, the nervous system, the sensations, they can be uncomfortable, they can be pleasant. And a lot of the things that are stored in our mind body in terms of different contractions, different tensions, different discomforts, different things, we don't really look at them, they will just stay there and continue to influence us. But what we're doing is just learning to look at them. Okay, found it difficult to feel sensations in the body. Yes, that also can be normal. And if you're really finding it very difficult, start with really the basic sensations of the body. So what I was saying about just the body, the sensation of the feet touching. And you know your feet are touching, and you can even lift your foot up and put it down again. And that sensation, that difference in the feeling is the sensation. And to start there, to start with whatever you can sense. Maybe it's just a general feeling. Oh, I can kind of feel my leg. I can't identify anything specific there, but there's kind of this vague awareness that I'm feeling what's there. And that's already good enough start. Easier than focusing on the breath only. Yes. Feeling the slight sweating in the back. Yes, feeling some sensations that are always going on, which are usually not attended to. Okay, so why are we doing this? Seems like, okay, why do I need to feel this sensation? Seems like a strange, silly exercise. But there's a very specific reason, and we will talk about that. So, yes, I'm going to start with here the wonderful content. So we are practicing meditation. The first few days we were working more with samadhi, with kind of to collect and gather the mind onto some focus object. In this case, it was the focus of the breath, to kind of work with this attention, with the skill of not being distracted so much, and to collect and to collect and to gather the mind. And you might have noticed it's not so easy to do. So there was different things that came, thoughts that you followed, discomforts that came, different habits of the mind that were revealing themselves just through this space. And on Saturday, I kind of asked you, what is the reason that you came to meditation for? So some of you said, oh, I want more clarity. I want to be more present moment awareness. I want to connect with something deeper. And I'm curious, what stands in the way of what you want? So you've been practicing few days now, and what stands in the way of this clarity or this peace or this deeper feeling of connectedness or whatever arose in the meditations? Or what do you keep following in your meditations which actually maybe is not what you want? So whether it was more worry or planning or thinking or imagining or analyzing or doubting or sleepiness? Your thoughts, okay. What kind of, can you give a flavor of those thoughts? Were they more restless? Were they more sleepy? Were they more anxious? Were they more irritated, angry, annoyed? Were they more dreaming, thinking, imagining about things that you want to do? Were they more doubting, analyzing, restless expectations? What else? Anxiety, mind constantly firing up tasks and things from the past. To-do lists pops up. Yes. So the different things that are scattering the mind. Right. And we are learning about that. We are seeing that and we relate to it in this gentle, matter-of-fact way. Ah, that is what is happening now. I accept it, I see it, and then just come back. And maybe it even feels like there's more of that happening now because we're actually starting to become more aware of that. And so in the beginning, on Saturday, I proposed two different things that we are doing in meditation. The first one is to practice the samadhi, this cultivation, this collectedness, this gatheredness of the mind, this unification of mind. And the other faculty that kind of we're cultivating here is the faculty of wisdom, of panya, to know yourself more deeply, to replace the misunderstanding about our experience with wisdom, the wisdom of how this thing really works, of how this mind and body keeps working and keeps following the things and keeps jumping into things that we actually maybe don't think are so important, or something that we don't actually want to do, but it keeps doing it out of habit. And sometimes that's more in, following the to-do list. Sometimes it's more worrying, anxiety, whatever it is. And by practicing this faculty of observation, this faculty of meta-awareness, meta-cognitive awareness, the awareness of the process of mind and body as it's appearing, we are cultivating this panya, this understanding of how experience is working. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be peaceful all the time. And so sometimes we come to meditation with the idea, oh, it should be peaceful and it should be peace right here. And yes, sometimes I can give that space, but sometimes we have to more face the things which are standing in the way, the habits of the mind, of contraction, of chasing, of comparing, of idealizing. And we see those things that actually stand in the way of more deeper letting go, of more deeper rest. And we have kind of different types of wisdom. So we have this kind of heard wisdom, this wisdom which is, or let's say knowledge, which is you hear about. Okay, you hear these ideas and they make sense to you. Okay, this is nice. Or you hear someone give some some talks about self-improvement or some nice philosophies, and you hear it and you kind of agree, like, okay, great. Then you start intellectualizing about it. You think about, okay, how does this make sense for me? Okay, I think about it. I create some map in my mind about how this thing works. And this is also very helpful. We are thinking about it. We're creating this rational wisdom, which which we can agree with. Okay, I accept this. But then sometimes when it comes to the actual situations where we start to feel more anxious, more triggered, it's like all that goes out the window, and we keep reacting, we keep being stuck in the pattern. We act in ways that we maybe don't want to, that stand in the way of what we want, essentially. So giving energy to those things that are maybe not what you want. And so Vipassana meditation really tries to work on this level of experienced wisdom, to directly experience the truth of mind and body, to see it, to not think about it, but to see it and experience it. And just in that seeing, just in that awareness, the things start to release, the things start to, like, there is more space around that. You see more, this wandering mind, it changes. So sometimes it's wandering, sometimes more concentrated, sometimes it's, and you just recognize that, and you kind of wake up from these dreams that your mind goes on and just come back to the reality of the present moment. And you're not thinking about it, you're just seeing it and you're practicing it. And over time, you start to push it away less. You start to crave the things less, because you know that following that thing just creates more of it. And so this kind of wisdom, this experienced wisdom, starts to get built. So moving from this kind of cup with all the dirt inside, and the first part of meditation is to kind of settle this dirt, to create clarity. But Vipassana meditation, working on the level of really trying to remove those things at a very deeper root level, the causes for dissatisfaction, essentially. So how do we exactly do this? So Vipassana, the word Vipassana means kind of insight. So V, the prefix, in or through or clear, and Passana, to see, to perceive. So it's kind of like this meditation of seeing clearly, of seeing through, of seeing in a special way our experience. Not how we usually relate to the things, about following the content and thinking about the world, our place in the world, what we have to do, but just seeing the experience for what it is. This is just thinking. This is just the sensation. This is just the breath. So seeing it at that level. And we've practiced here a little bit of this samadhi. And what we do with our samadhi, what we do with our minds that can focus a little bit better in the present moment, we direct it towards our sensory experience at the present moment. So our experience of body and mind at the present moment. The body, the senses of the body, the five senses, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, feeling, and the mind, which creates all the extra layers, all your thinking. So we are directing our awareness to just be aware of this process at the present moment, whatever it is, as it is, not trying to change it, not trying to ignore it by thinking about something else, but by continuously cultivating the intention, intending to be aware of our sensory experience. So it's a little bit like, an analogy would be of this experienced wisdom is like learning to ride a bicycle. Like you hear about this bicycle and it sounds like a wonderful thing. Like, okay, it makes sense to ride this bicycle. I can be a bit quicker. And then you think about how to ride this bicycle. Okay, someone told me that you need to balance, you need to use the handlebars of the bicycle, and okay, I lean left and right when I need to. Okay, that's great. It helps us to think. But to really start to know how to ride the bicycle, we need to get on the bike and ride it. And it's only through that deep intuitive experience of riding the bicycle, of seeing it, of feeling it, that we learn to do it. So we are not just intellectualizing or thinking here or using philosophies. We are trying to really deeply change our habits. and how we relate to our sensory experience. So why is the sensory experience so important? So this is quite specific. Why is the sensory experience so important? Our usual way of being in this world is kind of when the things happen in the outside world, when the events happen, when something happens that we like, or someone gives us a compliment, something nice happens to us, or maybe something bad happens to us. Someone gets annoyed at us, someone cuts us off in traffic, something unwanted happens at work, something unwanted happens in our relationship. You're not in the state that you want. You feel more annoyed or agitated or angry that you want. Your meditation isn't going as you like. It's less peaceful than you hope for, than you expect. So all these events, we're thinking about all these events that are happening, conceptualizing them. And we react to these. We react to these with, okay, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this, I like this. You try to have more of what you like, you try to have less of what you don't like. And that is the nature, that is completely normal. And when we start to look closer at what is happening at the experiential level, there is actually a few things which happen between this event and the reaction to the event. And Vipassana meditation, or this practice, will start to reveal this to you, how this actually works in the process of body and mind. So there's a few things that happen in between. So when something happens in the outside world, the first thing is your mind perceives it. Your senses take that information. For example, with this mosquito that's biting you, okay, your mind at some level perceives this feeling of the sensation. It classifies it, it recognizes, okay, I think this is a mosquito. And then some sensation, somewhere in the nervous system, there will be a reaction to that perception. Maybe it will be something around the area, for example, around the area of the mosquito bite, or maybe somewhere else in the body, like some tension or some contraction, a little bit of anxiety in the chest, especially. So yesterday when I was trying to sleep, no, actually this morning, there was a mosquito in my room and buzzing. And I really felt this clearly, okay, there's this kind of hearing of the buzzing and maybe the sensation sometimes of the mosquito kind of flapping its wings against my skin. And the clear tension or contraction somewhere in my body that is feeling like, oh, I want to sleep. And there's some contraction in the nervous system. Maybe then there's some reaction to that. So that's the final step, is that we react. I don't like this. Let me fix this thing. Let me try and kill this mosquito. And maybe there's some kind of, I felt some aggression arise or some discomfort in response to that. So the mind is actually reacting to the sensations, the nervous system, and how it responds. The Vedana, we also call it in Pali. Not actually directly to the event. The event is just the idea that gets put on top of the perception of the sensory phenomena, but there's some sensation in the body that we react to, with liking, with disliking, with pushing away, with grasping. And this is constantly happening, and this is part of the nature, and we are starting to become aware of this process. Okay, I'll get to the questions in the end. So what are we doing when we're doing body scanning? So when we're doing body scanning, we are learning to cultivate the awareness of this constant subconscious process of reacting to body sensations, to feelings. So we're cultivating a deeper sensitivity to bring to consciousness this process that is always happening in every moment. The perception, the sensation, the reaction. and the reaction both on the mind level, on a thought level, but also then manifesting in the physical or in the speech. And we're cultivating a deeper sensitivity where we're scanning our body, and we start with where we are. So you can't feel much, so maybe the sensitivity is not so developed yet. So you are just intending to feel more the sensations. And just by intending to tilt the mind and to try to be more aware of these sensations in the body, naturally, the mind starts to prioritize that more, the sensations. Starts to bring these more into conscious awareness. And you can start to feel more and more throughout the body. This is the first component of the technique. The second is to have equanimity. So equanimity is a word that comes from inner balance. So whatever experience you're going through, whatever sensations you feel, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether it's neutral, you're just aware of the thing. You're maintaining this inner balance, this pure awareness of what's happening. And you're basically instead of always reacting to the sensation, you're kind of canceling this last step of the process. And just aware of the sensation. Because usually what happens when we react, it starts to feed more into the event. So we react, we don't like it, the nervous system contracts more, there's more unpleasant sensation. We react more to that, and it's a very rapid, vicious cycle. And we keep thinking about that thing that annoyed us. So if you keep thinking about that mosquito, you keep thinking about the replaying that image, that thing in your mind that annoyed you, and you keep creating more reaction, more unpleasant sensation, and more reacting. So what we're doing, we're just being aware of sensation and not allowing ourselves to continue to go into that reaction. So the two principles, the technique is to cultivate deeper awareness, to develop sensory clarity at the present moment. So kind of it's almost like we have our consciousness is like a camera, and we are perceiving, we're upgrading this camera from standard detail to high detail to 4K, and being able to detect more and more, and to change it from 1 frame per second to 2 frames per second to 10 frames per second, 20 frames per second, 40 frames per second, different things that you can feel at a more rapid pace. And the deeper your awareness is, the deeper you can see this process happening. And the more it slows down, the more you have space before the reaction. And we're also cultivating this faculty of equanimity, to just accept non-resistance, just kind of welcoming whatever is appearing. Not pushing it away and not grasping after it. So not pushing away the unpleasant, not grasping after what is pleasant, which is the kind of default, the habit pattern. And so it is like, rather than kind of having this clenched fist and relating to the different things that appear in our experience with this clenched fist, either of trying to hold on to the nice things. Oh, there's a little bit of peace here. Let me try and hold on to this. Oh, this is so nice. I want more of this. Or the unpleasant things, rather than kind of pushing them away with force, just allowing them to come. They come for some time. As you might experience these unpleasant states, they come for some time and they also leave. So just to have the courage to actually just wait and be with whatever is. So this is the technique. And yeah, it is one type of Vipassana technique. There's actually also different types of Vipassana, but it is a very straightforward one, working with the Vedana, working with the sensation. and to cultivate this clear seeing of our experience, of our sensory experience, the truth of our sensory experience, rather than just thinking about experience and reacting to our thoughts about it. Okay. So before I jump into the questions here about, the more kind of tangential ones, does anyone have something they want to ask or want me to clarify on in what I just went through? Okay, maybe nothing. So I want everyone to close their eyes for a moment. We'll just kind of paint the bigger picture here of what we just went through. So essentially we practice samadhi, faculty of indistractability, of calm. And now we're going to direct this faculty at our sensory experience at the present moment. To not just let it be an idea of, okay, I don't react to the experience, I know that, but to deeply change that habit pattern at an experiential level by continuously feeling the sensation and just being aware of the thing. So the usual mode of operation is just to think about the outside world, think about us in the outside world, and constantly trying to fix things in the outside world, trying to fix things with the things we like, the things we don't like. And by directing our attention just towards the sensory experience, become aware of the fact that we are just reacting to the sensations, the sensory experience of our body. The outside world is just a trigger for these sensations. And so by doing the body scan, by deeply just feeling the sensations, developing deeper level of awareness of sensory clarity and deeper level of equanimity, acceptance and non-resistance, not pushing things away, not grasping. We are deeply rewiring this habit to react with grasping, to react with pushing away. And this in turn creates a lot more space to actually act more from a space of what you want, what you think is important, rather than just falling into the patterns of reaction. This is the essence of this technique. Okay. So, questions? I tend to intellectualize things, so working on experience wisdom is what I need to try and practice more. Yes, it's natural. We're always thinking about things and theorizing, and we're just shifting this into just experiencing. The wisdom that comes from experiencing is not something actually that you have to think about consciously. It's more of a deeper knowing or intuition, let's call it. Yes, learning to feel safe in the body and in experiencing instead of using the mind all the time. Yes, whatever experiencing you're going through, there's some feeling, some sensations in the body. The nervous system is how we experience the world. Sometimes it contracts, sometimes it expands, sometimes it's pleasant, sometimes unpleasant. And we're learning to feel safe and experience that regardless of the circumstance. I like this word, feeling safe. So usually when we act in ways that we regret, and to react to things in the outside world and say things we don't like, or think in ways that is harmful to us and others, it's because we don't feel safe. We feel fear. And we are reacting. The state of the nervous system is one of fear. And so we're training this faculty, just be aware of that and continue to stay regulated, to stay safe, regardless of the state. But that doesn't mean being calm and peaceful all the time. It means being okay with whatever state you are in, whether it's irritation or anger or anxiety or pleasant or worry. And that, as a consequence, gives the peace and the relaxation, because we're just aware of everything and understanding the truth of that. And the peace is a consequence. We're not trying to cultivate the peace directly. It comes as a byproduct of just being present. What to do when the ego gets in the way and wants to take over? So we can maybe define the ego as this contracted thinking self, which is trying to control, which is trying to manipulate, change, compare, and try to fit experience into the way that we want it to be. So sometimes that happens, or actually that happens a lot in meditation. We notice we get stuck in something, in some thoughts, in some pattern about thinking, and just in the act of recognizing that, it is just thinking that's happening right now. It is not some universal truth. So just to recognize it and gently come back, just like with the anapanasati, just like with the focusing on the breathing. Now we just recognize that thought and come back to where we were, or starting again if we don't remember, with the body scan. Do I feel that our natural relationship with the outside world is a relation of reactions, or is it tuned into the no reaction, gives us the understanding of our natural relationship with ourselves and the world outside us? So we are not trying to be in like a completely reactionless state, kind of become a vegetable of not being able to respond to anything. It's more that we are working and learning with the harmful reactions, the reactions that are causing ourselves and others suffering, essentially, or dissatisfaction. Both at a physical level, at our actions, but also at the speech level, how we speak, how we communicate, but also at the thought level, more subtle, because every action, every speech starts with a thought, with the intention, with the mental intention. And some of those are helpful and some of those are less helpful. And the unhelpful ones usually come from this place of grasping, of trying to control, of trying to fix, of trying to push away, trying to grasp. And so when we relax this tendency and have more this kind of open hand, this kind of, then usually automatically the more wise, the more kind actions, they naturally arise. Some people also call it just being able to stay present. To, when something happens, not to go into my story and my over interpretation of that, but to actually see the situation as it is and respond what is the most wise, the most needed thing in that moment. I hope that answered the question. So, okay, what else is there? So we can allow our default state of being to just allow our body to be the forefront of our experience. For example, as we sit here now together, can continue to be aware of the body. And this is kind of like a home base, place where the thinking is more quiet, the reacting is more quiet, and you're just present with what is the truth of the body. Do I scan the body from the outside in or the inside out? Either is fine, but so the kind of traditional way of learning this technique is to start more on the surface of the body, and then later we also start going in. But typically it's a bit easier to feel more on the surface. But whatever it is, you keep cultivating the sensitivity towards the sensation. So sometimes you feel, oh, I'm kind of aware of the whole shoulder, even inside. That's fine. But seeing also that the parts which are more blank, where you feel like, oh, I can't feel that, or maybe your attention jumps over that area, difficult to feel that, you kind of gently intend to feel that, whether it's on the surface or inside. And over time, that will become also clear. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, is it clear? 5 being clear, 1 being I don't understand anything. Just to get like a temperature check of everyone in this call. 4. Fours. 3. While sitting for meditation, if body parts hurt, how do you get enough power of mind to not react? Is it, say, by changing position? Is it just by practice? Yeah, so as the level of our awareness and our equanimity rises with practice, we can be with things and just be aware of them more and more, and they don't overwhelm us anymore. That doesn't mean that we never change position in our meditation posture, because there might really be something that's wrong with our posture, and we need to change it. But we don't kind of come from the state of anxiety of, oh my God, I need to change it, but just recognizing it, okay, and change it. But yeah, as we cultivate the skill of equanimity, of awareness, and it rises, then the things become much more easier. And even you'll find that the pain, there's actually some reaction to the pain somewhere else in the body. There's the pain somewhere, and then there's maybe contraction or tension or anxiety somewhere else in the body, maybe usually in the torso or chest or maybe the neck. And often we are reacting just to the sensation and not to the actual pain. And when we learn to just be with the sensation as it is, that reaction falls away and just becomes a bunch of sensations, vibrations. But step by step, yeah, if something's too much, just take it easy. Yeah, we can't force ourselves into equanimity. And the faculty of equanimity and of awareness, they reinforce each other. So if you think about it, the more you're kind of calm and just present and okay with what is, the more clearly you see the situations. If you are in some cloud of hindrance, like anxiety, everything that you are perceiving is going to be through that lens of anxiety. And so as equanimity deepens, as we learn to be more accepting of what is, automatically our awareness sharpens. We see more. As our awareness sharpens, as we see the things more clearly as they are, and that they are not this bad thing that we thought they were, automatically also the faculty of equanimity gets stronger.
Can I ask another question? Would that be
Sure, absolutely.
It's relating to the inside out, outside in again. But when I was meditating this morning and you were guiding us through the body parts, I don't know if it's the mind, but I start to connect to the body parts by imagining looking from the outside onto them. Is there a way I can stop doing that? Like I can maybe feel it in a different way. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but I find that really difficult to just connect to them and feeling them without looking from the outside onto them, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, great question to address. So this is normal. So the way we usually relating to our bodies is with imagination, with like the map of the body in the mind, the image of what this hand looks like from the outside. Maybe you're trying to scan it and picture of the hand flashes in your head, or maybe you use some imagination, like maybe something spreading in the hand or some scanning tool or all these different things, or maybe you verbalize it in your head. Okay, now I'm scanning the head. Now I'm scanning this part. So these kind of different helps, these kind of aids that help us to feel the sensations. And this is okay. This is normal. This is the nature that we use these things. And see if you can intend to it with intention to just feel a sensation as it is more deeply on its own. And automatically this imagination part will become weaker and the direct experience of the sensation will become more prominent until you don't have to use anymore this imagination, this help. But sometimes, of course, it can be helpful. I remember when I started body scanning, I always like imagine some scanning tool where I was imagining, like I was into anatomy. So I was imagining, okay, this is this muscle group. This is this muscle group. This is the scapula. This is the spinal extender. And I was kind of, okay, can I feel that? Yeah. And so it's a step, but try to do it less and less with that and just more directly experience the thing as it is. But yeah, nothing else to say except that just taking time. Yeah. Definitely. Does someone else want to ask anything? You can also feel free to say it out loud. Okay. Let's share a few moments of just being present together. and allowing the experience of the body just to become part of the moment. To welcome the sensations. To allow the natural faculty of awareness and of just being with what is to emerge. Okay, so we put this into practice. Thank you very much for joining today, for your time this Wednesday. Tomorrow, I think we have a Q&A if more questions come up, especially after more practice. But really, the only thing that answers all the questions and will answer all the questions, even the philosophical ones, is the practice, going deeper into your experience of it. Because what I'm sharing here is just ideas. My way of understanding it, my ideas, putting them into you. But you, and some of those might make sense to you, some of those not. But you're really cultivating your own experience, your own truth of what that is. So the Buddha always said, don't take my word for it. Go and find it. Go and search for yourself. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a lovely day.